What's up? What's up? This Lord Mav again. I'm here doing it. The topic for the day, real nigga thought. I'm still on it. The topic for the day is the Illuminati. I did a video on. I always say video. I did a podcast on conspiracies, and the Illuminati was touched on, but unfortunately, like many other podcasts, the audio just got lost. I did a kind of a dickhead move. I figured it was going to delete it, but I was fine with it. So the thought I was having was on the Illuminati and their agenda, or this is not a thought I had. This is the first unnatural real nigga thought. This is something that I actually sat down and you figure, what am I going to talk about today, So with this thought, it's like there's an agenda with the Illuminati. The Illuminati being, and how I take them now in my life, is just a group of people who a long time ago got together and they figured this is the way that we can control the world. This is the way that we can make sure that we end up owning everything through generations. Because they came from a time, first of all, that understood that your name meant something. And you gather up things so that your kids can have them. And yet, eventually, people get to live nice without having to put in so much work. So those 13 families, heads of families, got together and decided that they're going to make a plan. And they know that life is life. So when they have a baby, that baby doesn't know anything but what they teach them. So if they teach them to control the world, then that's what they're going to end up doing, because that's all they're going to know how to do. So they made it so the plan would last through generations, and it'll eventually come to be, but it won't be something that they personally would see. So the agenda is to control the world completely and physically, and have people actually locked down, not just mentally, I feel. But first they got to make you want to be locked down through fear, and then after that they'll just never change it. And you can't complain too much because you asked for it, but your kids are going to really have a problem, and that's when the world starts changing again. So the real thing about the agenda is, I feel now, is to not have people connect. Because I keep, like, being an Israelite and following the teachings of the street preachers and whatnot, you get a little angry at certain groups that have done things to black people just because they've done it in the past, And I feel in the teachings of Malcolm X that we really need to get ourselves together before we can work with anybody else. There's millions of black people out here and Spanish people working for other people, making them millions of dollars a year, and they come home and they make thousands, because we don't have the mindset of making something for ourselves, and they try to keep us away from getting together. The agenda is terrible because it has a lot of methods to it. You have the method of lying to the public through media. You have the method of poisoning them to make them sick, so they're tied to you medicinally, and mentally messed up, so they don't know which way to go naturally. It's hard for them to make decisions, so they look for a leader. You do all of these things, and what I really wanted to touch on was the media aspect of it, where I went to Puerto Rico, and everybody, no matter who it was, they asked me, why'd you go to Puerto Rico? I heard it's pretty messed up out there. And when I was out there, we had a blackout for one day, and it wasn't even a day. Like, me and my brother walked outside the house. We got down the block halfway, the lights went off, we came back, we was chilling in the house for like 5 minutes, and then they came back on, and we already had a generator running, so we ain't even feel the effects of it for real. But it was cool out there. People was nicer, life was slower, and it's like, this could be something good. And you worried about a hurricane, but that only come like once a year, and that was something especially bad last year, supposedly, from what we hear, because we don't even hear about the whole country. Our country are focused on specific things, especially in the media, to make you feel a certain way, and then they have you spend your hard-earned money, which would normally be spent to start your own business, which could really change some shit, and now they get you to give your money up to all these disaster funds. The government got the money, ain't helping nobody really, not putting in enough, but then you gotta come in and go out in your truck and your boat and go save a nigga, or go put in some funds to send a care package to somebody. It's nice to do it, but they should take care of it. But right there, you see that. When I went out there, all everybody knows is messed up out there. But that, what I saw, that shit was fine. It was lights off. The lights wasn't on, like the street lights and whatnot. But you had homeless niggas out there fucking directing traffic, something that you would never see in America, giving a homeless person a way to fucking maintain. Yeah, they might do drugs, but hey, if they come here, because you know the drugs they be on, if they able to come here and work to get this money, fuck what they doing after that. Because that's what a job is. It's a job. You get the job done, and if you can't, then we fire you. You know, if we can't, you won't do this no more. But you got to get to that point first. It's not going to just be, oh, you do this and you do this in your after time, so you know you can't get it, you know, because that's nonsense. But you know, they gave the homeless person a way to feed themselves. It's nice out there. When I was out there, all I saw was nice things. Seriously, fucking movie theater was popping. Niggas had a free day for women. The day we went, coincidentally, my wife got in free, and or half off. We ended up paying like fucking $12 for a ticket, for 3 tickets. I don't even know what we did, yo, but that shit was $12. I know last time I went to the movies for real, I paid 17 something, 17.50 for 1 ticket. So it's like, damn, yo, this shit is crazy out here. For real, it's crazy cheap. So you got that, right? That's just the perspective of people because what the media gives them. Imagine other countries. You know, you might hear about other countries, war-torn countries, but people go on vacation to these places. It's just like with the ghetto. Don't specifically go to the ghetto in the 80s and you fine. You know? Don't go to where the bombs is being dropped off and you good, because the country was good until somebody did some dumb shit and they popped off a war in a certain area, or the beginnings of a war. These countries don't be entirely fucked up, but the thing is, you know, they teach us these things to keep us separate from each other. That's where I'm going with the agenda. And they keep us from each other because they know that when we get close to each other, we realize that we really do have a lot in common naturally. And then based on the struggles that we went through aside, because it's only with so many struggles you can have, you end up meeting 100 people within the month that fucking have something in common with you, deeper than just being a human being. And they don't want that, because once that happens, that's when you start really getting ideas about, yo, we could do something, you know? I was in fucking HRA, and I was just sitting there, and some dude came, some white guy, and he sat, and he was like telling me about, you know, he was into the church, and Hurricane Sandy came through, and it messed stuff up, and, you know, they couldn't get the funds to rebuild, or something like that. But then he started talking about what I often talk about is we need to get together as people and realize we all need the same things, and that we can cover the same things. Like you take the tax money and you cover the food, you cover the housing, you cover college, you know, or if you don't take college out of it, whatever, because people can still get money off of that. We can make more colleges, and colleges will get better, schools will get better, but pay for healthcare, food, and housing. That's it. Just that. To where people don't have to, or find a way to sustain the food. People don't have to constantly spend money on food, which takes away from building the country up. Who knows what these ghetto people who throughout the centuries could have been doing in this country if they weren't stuck trying to live every single day. Because that's what we're doing. I had a lady I finished that thought about the man in HRE, but I had a lady in the library tell me, you know, we ain't living in New York, we just surviving, so leave, you know. But that's the truth for a lot of places. And this man was saying what I say, which is that we can pay for the necessities and then watch how the country will grow economically, because now instead of being focused on living, people will be focused on progressing. And as the citizens progress of a nation, the country has to progress. That's just the natural way of it. So you have that, but they don't want that, you know? They don't want that. Because what they focused on is trying to make sure you don't get up with your people. They want to keep you afraid of many different things to make sure that you don't get up and try to make a cult, basically. Cults come in and they have much power, you know. Imagine the things, the negative annotations that you have to things. Anytime you've seen a cult, hold on. Anytime you seen a cult, they was killing somebody, right? Anytime you see anybody thinking outside of how the government tells you things are supposed to work, they come in and they shoot up schools. You know? These are the things that happen to make sure that you don't follow that path, and to make sure early on, like imagine the seeds. Everybody who does a mass shooting, they believe in Trump. They they racist. They believe in conspiracy theories. Everybody, not talking about some people. Everybody that comes in. This is another reason why the mass shooting seems fake. Seems like a hoax. Everybody believes in the exact same thing. So you're putting it in people's minds through the news that if a person believes in this, then they eventually will come to this. So imagine when we come to a time where our country is at war in the streets, something that we've never felt in America, except for when we were fighting ourselves. Like, think about that. We don't get war on our soil until we fighting ourselves here. Except for when the country wasn't even really made yet. The country was built on a fight here. It hasn't really had a fight here since, like a major fight, I'll say. You had other fights and battles connected to all of that stuff, but I'm talking about a major fight besides the Civil War that was on our soil. We just go in other places killing people, you know? So when we get another war here, us, especially because our generation doesn't really go to war because it's not really something necessary right now. So when war comes to our streets, just like Red Dawn, we're going to be shook. We ain't going to know what to do. You know? So we're going to be lost, and it's just going to be over for a good minute. For a lot of people, it's just going to be over. But, fucking, they bring the war to the streets, it's over, nigga. I don't know where I was going. The fucking, they want you to have that fear. Nigga getting nervous. I completely forgot what the fuck I was talking about because I get too deep. But fucking, I was talking about the school shootings and shit going to war. But oh yeah, when the wartime comes, that's where we go. When the wartime comes, these niggas is gonna be like, oh, because it's not gonna be like just a war with other people. It's gonna be a war between what we call ISIS, right? ISIS is the people that's coming in saying we can make a person a terrorist through the internet, right? That's crazy. Now, if all the terrorists that come in, ISIS pledges that they did it, that they take responsibility for it, and the person is always into conspiracy theories, then when we get into ISIS being a real big, actual army and where they recruiting people every day, so-called, then when the media spits that out, you're going to be quick to tell the government or the cops, hey, yo, it's a dude that's really into conspiracies next to me, next door to me, a neighbor, and, he has some guns, and, I'm kind of nervous, because you're actually going to be nervous based on what the news told you. What we have to believe is that, not believe, what we have to remember is that the book War in the Worlds was broadcast for the first time on the radio before TV came, and people ran outside because they really believed that the world was coming to an end through an alien invasion, because the radio and news is just that powerful. And news was made, TV was made to just spread the news. The first thing on TV was BBC, I believe. It's just news. It's made to give you news spun by the government. British broadcast channel, NBC, I believe that's National Broadcast Channel. It's like, those are the channels run by the government, so they giving out the first channels on TV is stories or events given from the perspective of everybody's individual country. And then when you realize that everybody at the top is kind of in one conglomerate to try to get the same things done, then they start moving the same stories, and those stories trick you. into believing other things. So then you'll tell on your neighbor, you'll tell on your friends, you'll tell on your family, and these people start to get locked up. Just like the Jews, but in a new way, and you're going to believe in it. You know, because they could spin things any way. Imagine in a day of heavy editing. Like I always say, the government is like 5 steps ahead of us with anything. Before we got phones, the military was using phones. Before we got computers or the internet, the scientists was using the internet to send messages back and forth throughout the world so that they don't gotta physically take evidence and shit to each other, because that wastes a lot of time in developing new things. That's where it starts. It starts within the government, and then after a while it comes to us. So we always a couple steps behind with all of that stuff. So imagine if shit be looking real on screen to you in a movie. Imagine what they could really do with rendering things. They could probably make a person on screen and you wouldn't even realize it. I heard this is why you gotta watch movies and watch the behind the scenes. I was watching Nemo and I watched them niggas make water in CGI back in the fucking 90s or early 2000s, I believe, like 2003, 2004. These niggas made water, and the problem that they found was they did this shit too good, and they like, it's too realistic, and I don't want to keep it like that for a cartoon, because I want it to still look like a cartoon in an animated film. And it's like, that's crazy. So they was able to make water back then, and you see how, you know, shit be looking for everything else. It's like, come on, man. Why water still look like cartoonish? Y'all already figured it out. They already figured out all of these things, man. And they keep it from us until it's the time to let us play with it. Because then it's something else that'll just amaze us real quick, you know? You know these niggas had AI technology for mad long. Because they made movies about it. Anything that a movie is made about, not anything, but a lot of stuff comes from real life and shit that people be doing. And people find out. You know, with the craziest movies, niggas be finding out shit. AI technology, people been talking about that. Why would they work on it? You telling me people was talking? You telling me the world works like, hey yo, I want to make a movie about a fucking something that doesn't exist, that, you know, could think just like a human? You think, no, nigga, that shit starts off as a thought, becomes something real, and then they make a book about it. You know, when people make movies, they research things. So you telling me the first time they figured out AI, they made the Alexa, they did some dumb shit with it? No, nigga. And I think AI in a small form, that shit been employed just from your phone. You get to select things 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you get a message, right? That's the early forms of AI. Fuck out of here. But yeah, they trying to keep us in like in fear, man. You can't fear the people around you, because those are your real brothers and sisters. Without them, you can't really get nothing major accomplished, because if you're coming against a force that owns a military, then you need everybody. Because the truth is, with or without niggas selling the guns, or with or without, you know, parents coming on TV talking about we need to take all the guns because that's going to solve crime, you know, you still got the fact that they got more advanced shit, because they keep us in the dark, or they keep us, you know, with a dim light far away, 5 blocks from where the light post is. So we gotta walk up, and by the time we get there, they done made a fucking super lamp 18 blocks down, and now we gotta walk to that next, while they next making some next shit. So we gonna need everybody if we choose to fight. If we don't choose to fight, then we gotta pledge ourselves to working with this country, to making it what we wanna make it. And that's a way of fighting too. I don't really know what's better. I know what my mindset be in my old days, but my new days, I'm trying to be more peaceful, you know. But to get back to that story real quick with the man in HRA, you know, he talked to me about all of this shit that I already know and all this shit that I already talk about. Say he was a church dude, and by the end of his little speech, he was like, yeah, man, when you run for office, remember this stuff. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Like, I said that shit out loud, because I'm like, this nigga don't know me from nowhere. This nigga don't know I want to be president and shit. But out of nowhere, he just said that shit at the end. You know? I had mad people just walk up on me. Like, I was chilling with this white dude I sat up here before, and this half Japanese guy, and this nigga was just like, yeah, you look like a smart dude. And it's like, I had people say that all the time, and now it's getting to the point where it's like, damn, yo, what the fuck could I have been by now if I don't lollygag? I had a teacher in high school, a science teacher. She was, I don't know what I asked her, but she was like, yeah, you mad smart, you just lazy as hell. And it's like, damn, yo, I'm mad lazy, son. If I ain't gotta really do that shit, I'm not doing it. Or if I can't find a solid reason in my mind, even if it could progress possibly, then I'm not gonna do it. Like a guidance counselor, I told her, she was like, man, you gotta go to college. And I'm like, but most of the shit I know, I ain't even learn here. You know? And this is after I gave in a essay, and my essay talked about 9/11, but I tied it to real shit. And you know, somebody helped me with it and whatnot. Somebody looked at it, but then the next teacher came in and was like, Josh, what are you doing? They're gonna look at you crazy, and you can't do this. So let's change it. So I sat there and I let her change it. She did it. I'm like, I'm not doing it. You could change it. She's like, all right, I'll type it up. I'm like, all right, go ahead. So she did that, and I'm like, well, fuck it. If I can't tell true shit, cause the way she said it is, this might be true, but you can't just go in there talking like this. So that put it in my mind, I can't even talk about true shit in my essay, my entrance essay to get to college. So I know they ain't gonna be talking no true shit when I get to college, so why the fuck am I going there? On top of the fact, high school ain't teach me shit. Shit really just wasted my time. I envy niggas that drop out. But you know, it's like, fine, I guess they get there because eventually I would have needed a diploma, you know? But you know, it's like things that you just gotta do. Just gotta do them. Because it's gonna progress you in a way here. But yeah, this Lord Math signing out, nigga. Just fucking get it done. Do these things. And I'ma be somebody, nigga, you should be too. Shit crazy. Peace.